Monday, 19th of February, 2024. Monday means we do Q&A. Q&A means we attempt questions from life, from the Bible, from society, from marriage, from love, sex, prophecy, you name it. Not because we know everything about each of those subjects, but we have a revelation. At least we can give you a revelation, and then you can go ahead and continue reading, researching, and of course, God will reveal more to you individually, like He does. Today we have quite a lineup of questions. I don't know if we'll have enough time to attempt all of them, but it's okay. We always keep them in a question bank, which we all open every Monday. So if you have a question for us, you can always send it to the moderator, myself, or the person who forwarded this audio. Yeah, and then we'll be happy to attempt a recording with the response. Today, the first question is from Nino. He asked, what exactly will people be doing in heaven if there'll be no work? Okay, there'll be no parenting or even farming. So what will people be doing for eternity? Can we help this gentleman? It's called Nino. At least that's the name he uses on social and on WhatsApp. So Nicholas, allow me to start with you. What exactly are we going to be doing in heaven for eternity if there's no work?
Thank you, Chair, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you for giving the opportunity, Chair. Straight to the point, we shall know after crossing the river, because I don't see explicit explanation of what will happen in eternity in the Bible. I have not seen that, so I don't want to speculate. But when we get there, we shall know. There is a drunkard in Mbale recently when I was there who made a very funny comment. He says, it seems going to heaven is very boring. It's just singing and worshiping, because that's what the preacher was saying, that we shall be in heaven praising and worshiping God. Says, I'd rather go to hell. Maybe there will be some wine and some women, and that drunkard made that comment. I don't know whether he was drunk, but it really stuck to my mind. What was this man thinking? If we begin projecting what is in eternity that is not yet revealed to us, we may err. So in my opinion, let the brother relax and enjoy the gift of salvation that he has now. Because if God has delivered us, the undeliverable, has saved us, the unsavable, then there should be great things ahead there. Thank you.
Okay, so you're telling him to continue believing so that he finds out exactly what he's asking. Let him keep his faith. Okay, thank you. Peter, what shall we be doing in heaven for eternity? We're going to be singing and dancing.
Why you mute?
Sorry, Nathan. I've muted him. Peter?
Hello.
Sir, what shall we do for eternity?
If the question is eternity, then the God who created working and reproducing beings, the God who created us in a state where work and reproduction are not products of the state of sin, I am hesitant to think that we shall not work or not be working, and we shall not be reproducing. I am slow to partake of such a thought. When work and reproduction are not products of the state of sin. My claim is that all that which came by as a state of sin shall not cross to eternity. They shall not. If there be anything whose existence begins at the point of the state of sin, then in God, also known as eternity, it shall not cross. Therefore, my thought, in my opinion, I have no doubt whatsoever that we shall be working, innovative, creative beings, multiplying or multiplication of beings, socially, biologically, economically, and in that case, in that manner and in that order, we shall continue being that. Why? Because reproduction, multiplication, and work are not products of the state of sin. I submit.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. Peter says whatever didn't come about as a product of sin will remain, meaning work as well, and production. What will probably go away in those is the selfishness around them, I would imagine. Isaiah, what do you say about this? What are we going to be doing in heaven for eternity, actually? Singing and praising God?
Well, two things in one. First and foremost, I would like to remind or to inform Nino. Is Nino a man or a woman?
The man.
Okay, to inform brother Nino that okay, let me be bold and put it this way. There is nothing like heaven as a habitation for human being. Because you see, moderator. Yes, moderator, the problem is that human beings are heart horizontally, but they are vertically focused.
They are heart horizontally, but they are vertically focused.
Yes. So they don't focus, or their focus is not horizontal, their focus is vertical. That is why when they die, they dig a hole. Okay? And put you under the ground. The hope is that they will get out of that ground and fly through the clouds and go to heaven. So me, I'd like to begin with the question of heaven, because many Christians believe they are going to stay in heaven. They even have verses that tell them that they will be in heaven for 1,000 years. You've seen those verses in these apocalyptic books of the Bible, like Revelation and
Our next question is about that.
Yes. So it is important for us to understand that we were never created to stay in heaven. Heaven is not for us. Even the planets, in fact, the planets that we have used our technology to investigate and to go to, we have found out ourselves that our lives do not fit there 100% until we fix a number of things on those planets. In other words, it is like we are created and tuned for this planet and this environment. So metaphorically, what the Bible means by heaven is the earth without sin. And some have called that paradise. But you see, unless if you are in spirit form, the I factor. When we are discussing anthropology, I hope I discussed the I factor for people to understand what we mean by the I element of a human being. Unless if you are the I, the one in Jeremiah 1:5, I knew you before I formed you in the womb of your mother. When God formed you and you became a human being, your habitation is planet Earth. This is why the Bible says that I create new heavens and new earth. So we are not going to live in heaven. This is discouraging, but I need to put it out of the way, Mr. Moderator. People need to understand that I know it gives you hope that one day you'll get out of this planet Earth. Well, that is encouraging. But since we are here for Bible study, serious Bible study, I need to remind you that heaven is actually, you are right, heaven is boring. That drunkard of Reverend Isaac was right. Heaven is boring, not only boring, not suitable for you. Heaven is for celestial beings. You are not a celestial being. You are a human, tangible being created to stay within this environment and within this ecosystem. However, what we mean by heaven-like is to do away with the dangers in this environment. Because it is not only man who fell away from God, but after the fall of man, his environment was also affected. Therefore, man has got two problems, the problem of sin and the problem of his environment. So salvation deals with that. God at the cross dealt with the problem of sin, liberated you out of the shackles of sin. However, you are still in that environment, and that environment begins with your very body. God has to take you out of this environment known as your body, because it also hurts you. Some of us who have struggled with temptations know how much we have disagreed with our body. Same person. So God has also to take you out of the secondary environment, and that is this earth. And of course, this environment will be wiped away. Your body and this earth will be wiped away, but to be replaced with not only a better one, but with eternal different environments. Now, that is what the Bible calls heaven, the new earth. So when people say, what exactly will people be doing in heaven if there will be no work? Of course, in heaven, there is no work, but in the new earth, business as usual, minus sin problems and sin itself. So they will be parenting, they will be farming, they will be doing everything that we've been doing, minus sin and its problems. So the key text for people who want to understand this heaven and earth matters is the one in Isaiah and the one in Revelation that says, now a new heavens and a new earth I create. We are citizens of earth. And this is where we are going to stay eternally. The presence of God that you do not feel, the ability to see God that we have lost because we are fallen human beings, that will be restored and restituted. Yes, they will be worshiping God and singing, but that will be for a given time. In fact, I would like to inform believers that we are going to be busier than we have been in the new earth. That is what I can tell you. Yes. Because the reason that's why we're not busy here, it is because of the setting of this sinful world. Have you heard this scientific research that says that the genius has used what percentage of their brain?
Well, 3 over 10%, a small amount, really.
Between 3 and 9, the most genius. You have heard that research, isn't it? That research is true. Now imagine in an environment where you are going to use your brain full capacity, the things that you are going to do, and you do not have to worry about time. You are in eternity. Now discuss for me your schedule. You have way too much to do in the new heavens and the new earth. Too much than you have here on planet Earth. Because here you are limited. Here you are limited. So I would like to respond to Brother Nina and tell him that you are not a heavenly being. You are not. You are a new earth being. And therefore you will be very busy. You will be very busy. Just believe God and achieve what you've never imagined that you can achieve. Thank you, moderator.
Okay. Thank you for that. And the second question is also about matters of heaven, or at least the 1,000 years mentioned previously.
Excuse me. Hello? Yes.
Yes, Peter.
Yes, the question goes to the pre-current respondent, Pastor Isaiah. Where will our joy be if we are all successful? You know, if Jet is successful and I am successful, will I find satisfaction in an environment where challenge is not posed? You know, we celebrate challenges and overcoming them. In a world where challenges are not, how enjoyable and satisfying could it be?
You see, to respond to you, Mr. Serubide, is I would like to first of all inform the people in this world that you cannot put joy and materialistic success in the same box. Yes. So we Christians insist and say that joy is a fruit of the Spirit. So just because you have a fat bank account and you have all the treasures of this world does not mean that you have joy. You don't. You can only access happiness, so you are just happy. So in this fallen world, you can only laugh. Now, number one. Number two, satisfaction in this world is not in what we have or even how much we have. That is not where fallen human beings get satisfaction. Fallen human beings get satisfaction in what they have around other people who do not have what they have.
Exactly.
That is what they call success and satisfaction, isn't it?
Exactly.
Now,
so, yeah,
that alone is a symbol of brokenness. You think and feel like that because you are in this environment. But once taken out of this environment, from the symptoms and the predicaments of sin, you will not have to access satisfaction and success through the same means of the previous environment you were into. So you guys, your cars make sense because of those who do not have cars. And your cars are important because you do not understand what is important. That is your level of understanding. Your money is important, in fact, very important, because you do not understand what importance is. You don't have the ability to tell what is important. You don't have it. You have not been enabled to tell the difference between value and vice. You don't have it. You are fallen. So your definition of value is within that constraint of fallenness. Therefore, you are justified to say, how am I going to enjoy in heaven if I'm not better than other people? Now, it is also very important to understand that we are not going into a world of equilibrium, because many people preach the new earth as a world of equilibrium, where everything is the same and equal.
Where I'm equal to Isaiah.
Where you are equal to Isaiah. That also is wrong. Because the God we preach, the reason as why we are against homosexuality, it is because the sin of homosexuality preaches and advocates for sameness. The God we preach and we worship, he's a God of differences. Because where there is sameness, unity is not possible. Unity is only possible in differences. This is why we insist and preach creation, because evolution preaches sameness. Creation preaches difference. We insist that the Asians were created as Asians. Caucasians as well, Africans as well, Indians as well, different. So we are going in a place in eternity. You will be different, and you will exhaust your world, and it will be your world alone. That is what the DNA is telling us. That's what the fingerprint is telling us. That's what the size of our noses are telling us. That is what God is communicating. I am not better than Seruvide. I am different. Jethro is not better than Nathan Bwayo. They are different. They are here to serve different purposes. Nathan should stop trying to be like Jethro, to achieve what Jethro has achieved, to do what Jethro is doing, because Jethro is different. Because when Nathan tries to do what Peter is doing, he's doing the same thing. He has delved into sameness. All that he wants to do it better than. Now, better is sameness. Christianity preaches difference. Now, that is why Galatians does not say that a Jew and a Gentile do not exist. A slave and a master do not exist. A woman and a man do not exist. That's not what Galatians 3 is talking about. Galatians 3 is saying that the ism around the three, that has been done away with. Now, a woman can stay a woman without turning herself into a man, and a man must stay as a man without turning himself into a woman. For both the woman and the man are one in Christ, the two units. So, gentlemen, I know we are into the rat race, but it is a sinful rat race of competing with fellow sinners. If Jethro buys a car, I want to buy a bigger car. If he buys the same bigger car, we go on buying airplanes. If he buys the, it is the race is like that, and it is continuous. So heaven discourages comparing yourself with any other person. And these sermons we've preached, remember what we preached about the masterpiece?
Yeah,
Yes,
remember.
So someone should retrieve that presentation, and then you listen to it. Then you'll get to understand what we're talking about. You are a masterpiece. So you are going to heaven not to look at any other person. You are going to heaven to look at God and yourself. It is only in the world. That's why I told you that the major problem with human beings is that they are affected horizontally, but they are vertically focused. I hope I helped, Mr. Moderator.
Peter, are you happy?
Clear. Clear.
Okay. Super, super. So we can move to the next question about the reign of 1,000 years. Where will the raptured Christians be? I think he's talking about it's in Matthew, I think, somewhere, talking about the rapture. Some people will be left behind, others will be taken away. So those who will be taken, where will they be? And those who stay behind, what will happen to them? This reign of 1,000 years, is it going to be in heaven or on earth? That is what Brother Poimen is asking. Poimen, again, is a nickname he uses on WhatsApp. I think his real name, I'll get his real name, yeah. So this reign of 1,000 years, Nicholas, do you want to talk about the rapture? Those who are raptured, where will they go? Where will they be taken? And those who stay behind?
Thank you. First of all, the word rapture is not biblical. It is theological. The other time I told you that there are words which are biblical and theological. Biblical implied that they are directly found in the Bible, and theological to mean that theologians have coined them to explain a concept in the Bible. I don't want to be among people who pay much attention to the doctrine of rapture, because theologians have about 4 views. There is a theory which is known as partial rapture theory. Partial rapture theory holds that only those who will be holy and blameless, without wrinkle and spot, will be raptured. That is partial rapture theory. So in the church, according to that theory, there are those who are working so hard to become holy, and there are those who have given themselves to the pleasures of this world. They will be not raptured. That is partial rapture theory. And then we have what we call the mid-tribulation rapture theory. That theory talks about rapture happening in the middle of tribulation. So according to that theory, there are 7 years of tribulation, and in the middle of the 7 years, that is 3.5 years, then the church will be raptured, so that the tribulation gets more intensified. Then there is what you call post-tribulation rapture theory. Those who believe that rapture will happen at the end of the 7 years tribulation. And then there are those who believe in a pre-tribulation rapture theory, who believe that rapture will happen before the great tribulation. Now, given the fact that those are theories, they are prone to error because they are coming from human beings. What I want to say is that a person who has accepted Jesus Christ as his personal Lord and Savior is as good as raptured already.
Amen.
So again, to be there standing and waiting for rapture when you are in Christ, it is really disturbing. And I think Peter can better explain that. Chair, can I end there for now?
Sure, thank you. You've given us the different theories around the rapture. Thank you for that. I think it was a good intro. And then you dropped a bombshell. Once you believe in Christ, you've already been raptured. So don't worry about the 1,000 years and I don't know which other years. Okay. Peter, do you want to add something to Professor's submission? He seemed to call you out. Yeah.
Has done a wonderful job. I want to think he has done a wonderful job. Matthew chapter 24, verse 40. Matthew chapter 24, verse 40. Reading from the RSV English translation says, "Then 2 men will be in the field. One is taken and one is left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill. One is taken and one is left." Verse 42. "Watch, therefore, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. Therefore, watch, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming." The immediate talk by Jesus in these 2 verses, to me, seems to only explain the concept of being ready. Jesus's message apparently seems to be ready. And by being ready, like Reverend Mukwan has put it, is to put your faith in Christ all the time. And that is how you get ready. You do not get ready by doing a thing, by manners, or by what, but being ready is to continuously put your trust in Christ. And when you're doing, when you're in Christ, when you put your faith in Christ, you're ready and you are as good as raptured. Revelation chapter 20 and Revelation chapter 21, I might not read them, but the second question is addressed there. After the 1,000 years, which our brother saw in heaven, verse 1 and verse 2, or verse 1, in fact, of Revelation chapter 21 tells us that after that, we are going in a new world, which new world has got both new heaven and new earth. I think for the other question that says, where shall we be and where shall we be not, they're handled there. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Peter. Isaiah, do you want to add on to that? Those who have just joined us, we're answering a question about the rapture. The brother Poyman on the certain WhatsApp group where we are asked, during the reign of 1,000 years, where will the raptured Christians be? Will they be on earth or will they be in heaven? And then he asks, what will happen to those who will not have been raptured? That's the question we're attempting, those who have just joined us. So yeah, Isaiah, you want to add on to Peter's and Bishop's submissions?
Only one thing. I have commissioned myself with the apologetics of God, and I would like to remind all of those who believe in the rapture. I am glad that the two professors actually do not believe in the rapture. I would have found a hard time disagreeing with them. But for now, let me say this, that whoever believes in a rapture believes that there will come a time when God is torturing non-believers. I am silent. I want that to sink in. So when God is about to torture those who do not believe in him, he will have to first ninja. What is do a series of these ninjas of his believers, and then they disappear, and then God will be face to face with those who did not believe him, and he will start torturing them. The tribulation is by God. You remember the 7 bowls of Revelation?
They are here in Revelation 20 here.
So it is important to understand that those who preach the rapture, at the same time they preach a torturing God. Those who will stay here who are not raptured will be in a torturing chamber, masterminded by God, and that is not my God. That's what I wanted to add on, Mr. Moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was quick, but it's good. It's good. I think I can also just add as a final word on this particular question. Not everything in the Bible is biblical.
Maybe this question goes to the theologians on the forum, Pastor Isaiah White and Bishop Nicholas. Yesterday during fellowship, I learned the three sides. I learned something about the three sides. In that presentation, in that teaching, the preacher's message was that God is on his side, and God invites us to be on his side, not God to be on our side, not God to be on your side, but we, the believers in God, to be in God's on God's side. That was the message I derived. But during the presentation, he made something to explain, was explaining something, and said that in critical thinking, we have the notion of the gray line or the gray area, that there is always the middle point, and a good student of critical thinking should always exercise the gray area. I would like to invoke that notion. What could the gray area be in matters of heaven, the 1,000 years, and the rapture, in the context of this question at table now? Thank you.
Okay, that question is for the theologians. Isaiah, you want to attempt?
Yes, I want to go first. If there is another who will follow, let me go first. The gray area is the third side, the side of God. Because in matters of rapture and heaven, there are two sides. There's the side of those who are going to be tortured, they are evil. There's the side of those who are going to be raptured, they are good. Those are the two sides. The problem here in this rapture theology is to assume that those who are going to be raptured have raptured to God because they are good. Therefore, they are on the side of God. And those who are not on the side of God are going to be tortured. The gray area is, what about God? Is God the God of the tortured or the God of the raptured? Or he is the God of both? If he's the God of both, can he then torture? That is why in my addition to your responses about the rapture, I pointed out that, because that is critical thinking now. Who will be torturing non-believers? According to rapture teachers, it is God. It is God who is pouring the 7 bowls. So, can God do that to non-believers? Now, that question is the question of that environment of the gray area. Because the rapture is our believers' side. The tormented and those who are going to suffer tribulation is the non-believers' side, the wicked. So, don't we have the third side that represents the gray area? Well, Christians will tell you that yes, we do have, and that is the side of God. Is God for rapture or for tribulation? And the answer is God is for none.
For himself.
It is for him, he is for himself. And that is where we go and investigate. If we are saying that he's going to bring tribulation, can God torture non-believers? So that is a critical thinking question. Thank you, moderator.
Yeah. Peter, you're happy?
I enjoy this. In that teaching yesterday, I was provoked. Besides the message, to me, that was a great claim for us to always think about. That as we discuss matters, especially deliberating about God, deliberating about issues and realities in this world, the gray area is a significant position for every critical thinker to always think about.
Yeah. And it's only fair that Isaiah answers that because it's the one who presented that that subject. So I don't want to bother Nicholas with this. Sam Bahati, good to see you, my brother. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much.
Now that we're here, I think we can give time to your question. You had typed it, but things were not clear. So would you like to ask it so that then we attempt? It was about the principle that God particularizes in order to universalize. The example of the Jews in the Old Testament. And then your question was, does he abandon the concepts used under particularization after universalization? I think that your question was along those lines. Would you like to just sort of put some meat around that?
Yes, it was around that. I want to say that I'm sorry I've missed on this rapture thing, which I don't understand actually. I hope there was a recording and I'll be able to listen to the presentation. And I'm also sorry I'm okay. I'm traveling. I'm not settled somewhere. I'm walking. But my question is, as you said, yeah, it's about God who particularizes, the principle of particularizing in order to universalize. In other words, God couldn't talk to the entire world at go, but he talked to the Jews. Then through the Jews, the message went to the entire universe. Just as we've seen that he started as a God of a homestead God, then a national God, then a universal God. So my question was, there are things we say that these things were for the Jews. They're no longer applicable to the current situation of the Christian today. That's where the clarification I need is around that one.
You want to give some examples of those things?
Things that God told the Jews that please, okay, like when we look at the Ten Commandments, the law of God, the Ten Commandments. Does it go beyond? Can it go beyond the Jew to be also applicable to us? Yeah. For example, the Sabbath. Let me bring that one. Like the Sabbath. this one thing that confuses so many of us. And we say no. When you talk to these guys, say no, this was for the Jews. These commands were given to the Jews. When you read in Genesis, you don't find most of these. You come across them in the Exodus. And then they tell you, no, 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 no. These things were not only for the Jews, but also for us today. So, moderator, that's where I need a clarification. I hope it's clear. Thank you.
Well, I've understood it. I hope everybody here has got it. I want to throw it at you, Isaiah, first. Why? Because
I should go first.
Okay. Okay. You go first.
I would like to
dare. But it's okay.
I'd like to dare. Thank you. Thank you very much, Papa, for this question. Number one, we should reinterrogate the claim that God particularizes in order to universalize. Why? Because it insinuates that in the whole universe or in the whole world, there is a people that God went to without have gone to another people. Like I said, it insinuates. So we need to reinterrogate it. If when we say particularizes in order to universalize, was there a people in the whole world that this God particularized, or everywhere where humans were, or everywhere societies were, God revealed himself or herself simultaneously, but in bits and pieces, just like a teacher does, that a teacher goes bit by bit. Couldn't it be possible that what was happening in Palestine was happening in China, simultaneously happening in Africa, simultaneously happening in Asia, and it was happening everywhere? Only that it is possible, could it be possible, that the cameras that have occurred to us only point to Saudi Arabia or to Mecca and Medina, which is of course Middle East, and Palestine, aka Israel? So probably we also need to understand, when you say God particularizes in order to universalize, what actually do you mean? For if you mean that there was a people who did not have this God revealing himself at the time this very God was revealing himself to another, then that is subject to interrogation. Number one. However, assuming that that claim were true, that God particularizes in order to universalize, and where particularizes means a certain people but not another people, assuming that were true, in the very purview, in the very context of asking whether he drops or he abandons certain, he abandons the notions, or he abandons the ways that he used to particularize, so that when he or she universalizes, then adopts another. I think yes. I think yes. Why? Because of what God instituted is. What did God institute? And allow me to be biased here. God instituted Did he institute? Okay. God introduced Christianity. And what Christianity is a complete, it is a complete 180 degrees turn from everything particular. So if there be anything of particularism or that was happening in particularism, when God introduced Christianity, it was a 180 degrees turn. Why? Because of what Christianity is. What Christianity is. Christianity is a new identity, a new ideology, a new culture, a new creation, a new worldview, a new age. It is not a panel beating of the old. It is not a refining or a refinement. It's not a rehabilitation. It's not a makeover of the old. Christianity is not a religion, not religious denomination. It is not Christendom. It is not Abrahamic. Christianity is new identity, ideology, culture, creation, worldview, a new age. Therefore, a new culture, analog, has no part in digitalization. That's why somewhere says, you've heard of the old. You've heard of the old say, but now I say, keyword, but now. But now. That has no part whatsoever. In another part, you've heard say, the temple is big, but look at who is greater than the temple is here. That is a complete 180 turn. Yeah, okay. In Hebrews 4, okay, in Hebrews 4, this new worldview called Christianity said, at a certain point, the notion of the Sabbath was being understood and taught as a day. But today, it is no longer that. It is no longer that. That is Hebrews 4 for you. So if the claim that what was happening during particularism and what is now happening under universalization or universalism, those are two different creations, two different ages, two different cultures, two different ideologies, two different identities. Because in particularism, it mattered if you were a woman before you speak, if you were a man in order to matter. It mattered if you were Gentile. It mattered if you were Jew. But in the new, in the early church of Acts, chapter 10 and chapter 11, our brother Peter had a revelation that God shows no partiality, for he is no respecter of persons. But in the old, in particularism, he is portrayed, and I come again, he is portrayed as particular. For it mattered a lot whether you're giving food to the children, the food that is meant for the children, it mattered whether you're giving it to the dogs. For in Christianity, in the new world, in the new identity, for there is no dog and there is no human. I want to end here for now, for others, but that's what I can say. For there is a plethora of evidence that when the old order is done away with, it is done away with for good. For good. And therefore, in the new order, we have commandments. In the world, in the old order, we had laws. That is a complete 180 degrees turn.
Hello, moderator. That's powerful. Thank you so much, Mr. Hello, moderator.
You can continue. The moderator is perhaps struggling with something. Tom, go ahead.
Sorry, I muted myself because of some background noise. Sorry, Tom, continue, please.
He's back.
Yeah. Abantu proposing particularization of God towards universalism of God, at least by the denomination I was in years back. Katonda bamulabira ku Abraham. The proponents b'endowooza n'enjigiriza bagamba nti Katonda yeegatta ku bakatonda abangi Ibrahim bwe yali alina. Era baagala okunnyonnyola Katonda nga bannyonnyola Katonda nga Ibrahim tebamulese ebbali, therefore nga ne Isirayiri tebagirese ebbali. Era abayigiriza enjigiriza eyo tebabuuza kibuuzo nti Ibrahimu nga Katonda tanaba kumusisinkana, Katonda yali ludda wa, yali wa. Era abayigiriza ekyo tebakkiriza nti Katonda yali yeetaba mu buwangwa bw'abantu abalala abatava Sayi gwa Ibrahim. Era bayigiriza nti Katonda yali ebintu byali byamuva mu ngalo, kati bw'asanga Ibrahimu ne yeekwata Ibrahimu alyoke atandike okugenda ng'awamba amatwale agataali gage bit by bit. Era bayigiriza nti Katonda ono yasookera mu nnyumba ya Ibrahimu, si mu baganda ba Ibrahimu abalala, abaana ba Teera abalala, wabula mu nnyumba ya Ibrahimu yasookera, n'agenda nga yasooka kubeera Katonda wa Ibrahimu ng'omuntu, n'afuuka family God, family ya Ibrahimu, n'afuuka clan God, clan ya Yakobo, Ibrahimu, Isaaka, Yakobo, abaana 12, ebika 12. Yakobo, Israeli bwegaziwa nefuuka tribe, Katonda n'afuuka tribal God. Katonda bw'amala okufuuka tribal God, n'alyoka atandika okubuuka ensalo za Israeli, n'adda e Babuloni, n'addako e Misiri. Of course ng'atandise okwabya Kakuni, bano mwe baali bamutadde nti kati Katonda ono atandise okubuuka boundaries, nti kati agenze Babuloni, kati agenze ekyo kitegeeza nti Katonda gwe bannyonnyola
bannyonnyola Katonda awambiddwa, bannyonnyola Katonda alina limitations, bannyonnyola Katonda atasobola kunnyonnyolwa nga Ibrahim tanaba kuzaalibwa. Kubanga bw'obabuuza ekibuuzo nti Ibrahim Katonda nga tanaba kusikana Ibrahim, Katonda ono yali ludda wa? Tebasukka Ibrahim kudda mabega kulaba Katonda ono bwe yali ali. Moderator, njagadde kwongerako ekyo, mmanyi nti muganda wange mukulu wange Bahati abadde alimu ekyo, kubanga gyali nange naliyoko nga tuyigiriza ekintu ekifaanaganako kityo. Neyanze so moderator, njagadde okwongerako just kibuuzo kye.
Got it. Thank you, Tom. Isaiah, we're here last Monday battling tithe, if you remember. And one of the things you said is that tithing was a principle. It was not necessarily for the Jews and all that, if I remember correctly. And of course, Bahati in his questions mentioned the 10 Commandments, he mentioned the Sabbath, of course he had to. So I think you should start from that point. Are some of these things dropped when you go universal? Are they necessarily dropped or necessarily useless? Like the brother's question one.
You see, for us to understand what is useful and what is no longer useful, we need to first of all understand.
A bit low.
Hello?
Yeah, go on.
I was saying that for us to understand what is useful and what is not, what to drop and what to uphold, we need to first of all understand what it is. I think that is where things fail. Because, for instance, because Bahati and many others fronted the example of the Sabbath, is this, for instance, we ask the question, with the Christians of today who are not actually Jews, we ask the question, is the Sabbath a day or a rest? How you answer that question will determine whether you're looking at it as a principle or as a ritual that can only be exercised by particular kinds of people. Are you guys following?
Intently.
Yes. So to respond to your question, Mr. Moderator, for us to tell, is this a principle or a law or a right by RITE, a ritual? For us to tell the difference between a right and a principle is for us to delve into these matters and try to understand what they are. Then the next step would be to tell their importance and relevance, therefore. I think this to me is very crucial and very pertinent. Because people believe things they have not investigated. You are a Seventh-day Adventist believer and you keep the Sabbath. But what is the Sabbath? Is it a day that should be kept, or it is a principle, therefore Shabbath, rest? If it is a day, then you have to go back and be initiated into the day keepers, because they are particular day keepers, and those are Israelites by birth. So you have to be proselyted, be circumcised as well, and then start keeping the rituals of those people. And this is why at a certain point, Paul came to Jerusalem and came with the Gentile. And that Gentile was shaved that very day, circumcised that very day, for him to access the temple. Because these were not principles, these were ethnic rituals. And this God was an ethnic God. So to me, moderator, understanding things before we get to know their their usefulness is important. Is important. Then I guess Professor Mugerwa was trying to teach his audience the history of the revelation of God in the Jewish text. Are you guys following?
Yes.
Yes, Pastor.
So Professor Mugula was trying to teach his audience the history of the revelation of God within the Jewish text. How did God transcend from being an ethnic God to a universal God
within a Jewish text?
Within a Jewish text. Because if you understand if you want to understand Professor Mugera, that is his angle. And the question we ask such narratives in the attempt to extend it, broaden it, take it from this stage to another stage, the very important question that we ask to the particularization of God, okay, is when we say particularization, are we saying where God began and where he started? Is that what we are saying?
That was my question in my response.
Because if it is what we are saying, then we are discussing then we are talking about a narrative. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Bible, especially the Old Testament, is a story told by particular people. And within that story, God has particularized the story told by particular people. Every story told by particular people, the God in that story as a character has particularized. But is it the only story that is being told? And why do we ask such a question? Because we know that, for instance, Genesis chapter 1 to chapter 11, okay? These are stories told by Jews, but these stories are versions of existing stories. Not just in their community, but in the world all over. For instance, while the Jews have Adam and Eve, the Baganda have Nambi and who?
Chintu.
And Chintu. Now, these are two different and distant ethnic groups that have not communicated. None of the two has copied from the other. The Bakonzo, where Elder Sam comes from, they must have a Nambi and a Chintu, and Adam and Eve.
Yes, we do.
Exactly. But you see, Sam Bahati is so interested, so obsessed with Adam and Eve, and he has never paid the attention that he has paid to Adam and Eve, to the Konzo, Adam, what are the names?
We have Nyavindi, Nyavibuya.
You have never paid any attention, or at least that much attention, to Nyabingi and Nyabibura, like you have paid attention to Adam and Eve. And we all know the reasons. Colonialism. Now, moderator, I would like to invite all the people in attendance today to go and on our YouTube channel and watch the two presentations. One is the Dean Nebyobuwangwa. What are the names?
Obuwangwa ne Dini, I think, was the title.
People should watch.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I watched it actually.
Now that you have this question, you have now to go back and watch it again with this question. But here's the thing: the particularization that Professor Mugera was teaching you guys is a Jewish story from the Jewish narrative. But Christians must understand that while God was revealing himself to the Jews, he was revealing himself to the Konzo simultaneously. Now, that is advanced Bible study. I am not trying to take you guys away from your favorite book known as the Bible. I am trying to tell you that the Bible is sending you back home. The difference between the Bible and the Quran is that the Bible is a representative of where you came from, of the revelation that got stuck from your background. We do not worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No, we worship the creator of the universe, that single God. The greatest contribution by the Jews to the world was monotheism, the worship of one God, which also in Jews has issues. I will come back one day here and teach that. But the principle, the greatest principle that the Jews contributed to the world is the worship of a single God at the expense of all other gods. But you also should understand that they did not just come to that in the initial stages. It was a process for them to get to the stage of "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one." That was a very long process. And I think that is the greatest contribution to all other cultural revelations of the same God. I have encouraged the Baganda here to go back and study what they have termed as witchcraft. There is, I am sorry to say this, there is too much God in what you call Obusamize. There is too much God in what you call Obusamize than you can access in your religion. I am sorry to say this. But what do you need? You need help. Someone to interpret for you and point to you. And I told people that I can use the Bible to demonstrate what you guys have called Obusamize, the African traditional religion. I can use the Bible to teach ATR. I can use that. But here's the thing. God has always been universal. He was just particularized by those he revealed himself to. But the revelation of God has, is, and will always be universal. It is upon us who have been revealed to this truth to go throughout all the nations and tell them what Paul told the people in Athens in Acts chapter 17. What you worship and you don't know is why I am here and what I am here to tell you about. So the Konzo in Nyabirunga and Nyabi whatever that I have not yet crammed, we are worshiping what they don't know, and they particularize that. The Baganda in Muanga are worshiping what they don't know. It is a revelation that has gotten stuck. Same way, the same revelation got stuck in the Jewish economy, because till today, Israelites are non-believers. There is no Christianity in Israel. Till today, the revelation got stuck. Like the revelation got stuck in Buganda, got stuck in Us, the Him and the Tusi, got stuck in Konzo, got stuck in Itesos. The revelation got stuck. It is our responsibility to unlock it and let it flow. And this God, this universal God, be understood. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Okay, thank you. Sam, I don't know if we're helping. Or you
Yeah,
still have
actually, I'm benefiting a lot. I watched the video of Dean Nebiobuangwa. I don't know the Dean Nebiobuangwa, which Pastor Isaiah has echoed. And I remember he talked about so many gods, but eventually the argument was, or the conclusion was, we go with the superpower. There's a God who was above all those gods.
Exactly.
And I think it's also actually the cultural issue has come in. Just because the Jewish culture has been recorded, that's why we are stuck to it. But if you come to the Konzo, we've had the gods who are actually performing. As Pastor said, it reminded me, actually, if you are particular and you look at the Christianity, at the Bible, the biblical things, some of the things we do, you have to be believing in the Bible to accept that that's not kind of culticism. I do follow Pastor Bishop Maponga, and also has helped me a lot to enlighten me, because the guy who likes tradition and culture. He gave an example of the Holy Communion. If you are told that you are going to drink the blood of Jesus, you have to be believing the Bible to be comfortable with that. Because if you are told the same thing when you're in those small huts of ours, in the mountains, you will see of some easy of Wedemirim. So I think we've been brainwashed, as Pastor says, and as he even advocated during that in that YouTube message. We need to write. The traditionalists must write something. The Mama Fina, I remember him. He was very particular about that. Then probably we'll be comfortable. We'll know. Actually, it helps us a lot to know, to place God above these other gods. Thank you so much for all who have actually.
But Christians, as we wind up, moderator, I'm sorry we are past time. But as we wind up, Christians, you should excuse yourself from those rites and rituals, like the Holy Communion and eating chapatis and wine and calling it blood. You Christians, you overcome those rituals. You dive into reality. Thank you, moderator.
Okay, thank you. We ran out of time. But I want to thank everybody for joining in. Of course, next Monday we'll be back with more questions and responses. May God bless you and keep you until we meet again. We'll be back on Thursday for our usual politics and other stuff. God bless. Peace out.
Thank you.
Moderator, quick one.